Hello students, how are you? I wish you are fine. Now, actually, we will start our own classes because during this epidemic also we cannot stop our class, we cannot stop our study. Today we read the most important chapter, the chapter known as the agriculture. We know that agriculture is most important things for our lives. Now these times, maximum amount of the people they all will depend upon them because during this epidemic nobody has their own works like their service etc. So agriculture is the best option to take occupation, as well as we must have to be take the food, and that food can be come from the agriculture. So that agriculture is the good and the most important occupation in our lives. So that, and before some times, our honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who also advises to every people to self-dependence, Atmanirbharshila. It means, in our future, if we learn some point from the agriculture chapter, we should be do our agricultural practice in our lives. Okay? So let's start to read the most important and the beautiful chapter in our books, that's known as the agriculture. Cruci. How do we do our agriculture? What is agriculture? How do we have to be complete about that process? Everything that we learn here. Okay. First, we have to before we read about our chapter. First, we have to know the introductions. When agricultural process started in our India, etc. Okay. First, I wanted to say you that the agricultural process that has been started in our India from 9,000 years ago, 8 to 9,000 years ago, and the first agriculture is known as the wheat and the barley. Now we are going to start our agriculture chapter. Agriculture, the science or practice of farming. The science or practice of farming, including cultivation of the soil for the growing of crops and the rearing of animals to provide food, wool, and the other products. Okay, the science and practice of the farming. How do we have to practice our farming? With the help of the science. Because when we have to seeding our process, plucking, everything, we must have to need the mechanical works. Now this time also the chemical products, so many times that's used by the farmers. So that the science or farming, the science or practice of farming, including the cultivation of the soil for the growing of the so many crops. There may be any kind of agriculture that's known as the crops. Okay. And agriculture is mostly important for the growing the crops on the ground. Understand? So this is known as the introduction of agriculture. Means when a farmer is doing agriculture, they must have to follow the process of the agricultural practices and also following the scientific thing on the ground. After that, a farmer can be grow properly agriculture things. Okay? So this is the introduction of agriculture. Now we are going to read the meaning of the agriculture. My dear students, you look so many farming areas in your city, village, etc. And this area, large amount of farmers, they can grow rice, wheat, sugar cane, barley, gram, large amount of agriculture, and they give us the food. So who is our real friend? Farmer is our real friend. Okay? So that now we are going to read the meaning of the agriculture. The word agriculture has been derived from the two Latin words. Agri, which means soil, and culture means tradition. It means the word agriculture has been derived from the two Latin words. One known as the agri and one known as the culture. The word agri means the soil and the culture means known as the tradition. It means any kind of the tradition that's made from the soil is called as the agriculture. It means whenever we produce any food from the ground, we must use the soil, and that's known as one of the process. Culture means one of the process that's having for the agriculture, that's known as the agriculture. Okay, the practices, the farming, the process of the producing crops is known as the agriculture. Okay, the main introduction of that known as the process, practices of the producing crop is known as the agriculture. Okay, just we come in front of that. Okay, so many part of the agriculture. Before we read some point of the agriculture, first we have to know how many form of the farming. Form of farming on the field. On the field. हम जमीन में कितना टाइप वाला फार्मिंग कर पाते हैं? ओके, फर्स्ट एग्रीकल्चर, that we read here. Okay, first agriculture, that we read here, already read here. Secondly, horticulture. During the agricultural process, we read the so many things we should produce: the rice, barley, maize, etc. But horticulture, the producing fruits and vegetables. When we cultivating fruits and vegetable on the ground is known as the horticultural process. Okay. Number third, viticulture, the cultivation of the grapes. The cultivation of grapes is known as the viticulture. Number 4, sericulture. The cultivating of silk. You know, silkworm is one of the insects that's always living on the tree. Okay, कुकुम जो बोलते हैं. Okay ना? So silk, the cultivating of silk is known as the sericultural process. And number 5 is known as the pisciculture. Pisciculture is only for breeding fish, breeding the fish. So this is the 5 kind of the culture, 5 kind of the process have been continue on the farming in our ground. Okay, one known as the agriculture, that's we producing different crops. This is for crops. What is crops? That has been harvesting. Okay, that has been harvesting. First, we have to know about crops. Crops mean whenever we have to be doing any kind of that agriculture, any kind of the farming, after that ripen, we have to cut the plants known as the crops. Okay, the cultivating the fruits.